Hi, everyone. We're just about to get started here. If you all are tuning in, this is the last year to next year workshop where we'll be celebrating and goal setting for your life, your brand, and your business. We're going to give a few minutes for folks to join in. So go ahead and get settled. As a preview, if you are tuning in, I want you to bring your pen and paper and a calendar and your phone if you have it. So go ahead and grab those things while we'll get started. Now, this is for you if you have this new year energy and you really want to get started with a fresh look at your business and a fresh look at your brand. This is for you. This is all for also for those people who have done goal setting before and are saying, praise, I never carry it through. How can you help me? How is this different? This is also for you if you've never set goals at the beginning of the year and you're like, how do people who have been in business for a long time do it? How do people who seem to meet their goals and celebrate these cool accomplishments, how do they do it? This workshop is for you. If you're a living, breathing person who wants to make an impact in this world, this workshop is for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. If you all are not new here, you know that we like to start with a few deep breaths to kind of settle us in into any workshop. So wherever you are, I'm here at our studio in San Francisco, and so I'm going to settle into my chair. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take another breath in and exhale. Take another deep breath in and exhale. I know I'm catching many of you during a lunch hour, so you might have been rushing here from one appointment to another. I'm so glad you're here. I hope those few breaths bring you here, bring you present. I am present with you and so honored to get to do this with you. For those who don't know me, hi, I'm Praise, and I want to live in a world where people live inspired lives. I'm a brand photographer and coach with our studio, ComePlum, and we work with small business owners. We work with a lot of female entrepreneurs because we really believe that you have a special call in your life. And if we can inspire you, resource you, and have you be confident in what you're called to do, you'll make the world a better place. And now our vision, which I'll get into more too, our vision is to see 10,000 women inspired and resourced and confident to do just that. And what's incredible is that we are in 925. So we are 99% of the way there. And some of you tuning in might also be in this space where you're like, praise, I had a goal and vision. Now that's why I'm tuning into the workshop because I have to have a renewed vision. I have to have a renewed mission and vision. I'm so glad you're here because we'll dive into that more too. Okay, I want to ask you all because we'll be goal setting. The thing is, we push so hard in Western society to do all these things. And I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people to achieve a goal. And then instead of sit in it, celebrate it, I immediately move on to the next goal. And I don't want to keep on doing that. I want to stop and I want to celebrate that. And so I want to ask you, how do you celebrate an accomplishment? What was the last thing you treated yourself to? What was the last thing you did to pop the champagne, either metaphorically or literally, when you accomplished something? You all, I know, are live streaming from different platforms. You can put it in the comments, put it in the chats there. You can even put it in the chat here too. I know one of the last things I did to celebrate was it was so silly. I think I bought myself a new hair product. And when I hit a certain income goal, I was like, okay, if I get to here, one of my goals, I'm going to buy myself this thing. And it was so fun because every time I use it, it's a practical way of like being proud of myself. So, how do you celebrate an accomplishment? Maybe you all need a few more ideas. I put here, did you get a new puppy? Are you treating yourself to a nice dinner? Ice cream? What is it? But put that in your back pocket because we'll be talking about more goals here. So here's our blueprint for today. For last year to next year is one, we're going to review your brand foundations. This is what we do as a branding studio, as coaches with all our clients, is we're really going to hone in on our mission, vision, and our values. And some of you have gotten our brand foundation worksheet. I'll send it out in an email with this replay too if you haven't. But we'll be going through some of those highlights here today. So we'll be reviewing that. We're also going to be celebrating last year. And so looking back on all that we've done, and then we'll be casting vision for the next year. And then I'll show you how to implement it all with our clarity framework. So that's our blueprint for today. I said this at the beginning, and I don't know if you all have gotten a chance to, but again, I want you to grab some paper and a notebook for today, a pen or pencil. I also want you to bring your phone and a calendar. So have those close by. I know that some of you all are physical calendar people, which I love. So go ahead and get that too. It's so amazing. I feel like we've outsourced a lot of our brain and our memories to these devices. And I'm kind of for it, but I know it's kind of wild that we have to bring these devices to a workshop like this to help us look back and remember. So I'll give you a few seconds to go ahead and grab that if you haven't. Okay. If you all have that, I do want you to think about as we are again like planning these things, celebrating these things. Really, the big question is for you to ask yourself, what legacy are you leaving in your life, in your brand, and in your business? What legacy are you leaving? I'm putting a photo here that when I was pregnant with our daughter. Some of you may know we brought a little one into the world back in April. And it really is one of those things. Like, of course, I wanted to make the world a better place for generations to come. But now I have a little face that looks at me every morning, in a sense, that asks me this question: what impact am I going to make on this world for her, for the generations after her, too? And we are here for such a short time here on this earth. We were in Yosemite not too long ago. And when you see these giant redwoods and all those rings, and you see the gap of time, and we are like the tiniest width of a fingernail. That's like our lifetime. It's small, and yet we can make an impact for generations to come. So keep that in your mind as we go through some of these brand foundations here, too. I was just looking in the chat that one of our friends here, Marissa, likes to celebrate with buying new tech. I love that. I am like not a huge techie, Marissa, but when you get a refreshed thing, you're like, I didn't even know phone cameras could be like this. And then when you upgrade it, you're like, wait a minute, I'm looking at it with new eyes. So I totally get you there. Okay. So some of you, when I pull up this slide that says mission, you might roll your eyes because maybe you've already thought of this before. But even if this is old news to you, I want you to sit with it with refreshed eyes. Even for me, I'm going to have to kind of refine what our mission is now that we've kind of been evolving over time too. So let me give you an overview too. What is your mission? Your mission focuses on today and what your life, your brand, and your business does, who it serves, and how you do it. So, like what you do, who you serve, and how you do it. So, it's very present, it's very based in today. So, let me give you an example from our own studio. We kind of just list the things that we do, right? We use branding, photography, and coaching to inspire and resource women. So, that's who we serve. To do what they are called to do. So, inspiring and resourcing is kind of how we do it. So, you can phrase this in any way you can. I know we have some writers here on this call who might be wordsmiths and phrasing things too, but you kind of want to highlight very presently this is our mission so that every day when you start your work, every day as you serve your clients, you are doing these things. You can be as broad or as specific, but you really want to showcase what you do, who you serve, and how you do it. And I'm putting my branding coach hat on. The how is often your differentiator for us. We use keywords like inspiration and resourcing because that's really our heartbeat. That's even me as a leader, how I love to interact with people. And for some people, it might be with empathy and care, or it might be with boldness. However, it is for you, your special sauce is your how. So remember that as your mission. But with that in mind, we often pair it with our vision, which is very future focused too. So your vision, in contrast with your mission, focuses on tomorrow and what you want to become. So again, it's back to this legacy you are leading. So for us, we're really specific. We want to serve 10,000 women to be inspired and resourced and confident to do what they are called to do. And so we came up with this vision years ago, and now we're almost there. And so for me, my homework is to think of a bigger vision. Now we need to celebrate that we're getting there, but what is our bigger vision from here? I want to give you another example of another great vision. One of the first organizations I worked at when I moved to the Bay Area was a nonprofit called United Way. And their vision was to cut poverty in half by 2020. So it was very disputable, meaning we knew whether or not we were going to be cutting poverty in half, and we knew it by a certain time. So maybe those are questions you need to ask yourself too. What are your hopes and your dreams? What problem are you solving for the greater good? Who and what are you inspiring to change? And how can you be so specific that it's disputable? So I want you to work on that a little bit with getting really specific with your mission and vision. So go ahead and take time to do that. But what we just went over was our mission and our vision. So these are some of the questions that make up what our brand foundations are. So, as a recap, our mission focuses on what we do today, and our vision focuses on what we want to eventually become. And I really encourage a lot of our clients to be so specific so that it's disputable. And so, I gave the example of United Way cutting poverty in half by 2020. We know if it's going to happen or not because they made an audacious statement. So, I encourage you to make some audacious statement, put some numbers, put some time frames on there, so that we can encourage you and so you can gain momentum too. But let's move on to our values. Our values. So a value will inform your actions and decisions. It'll help you clarify what you say yes and what you say no to. It's what you become known for. And so before we dive into this, for many of you who run like eponymous brands where it's both you and your company that you run, a lot of your values, along with your mission and vision, there might be a Venn diagram. There might be some that are just praises and some that are complums, and some of them that will be both of ours together. For some of you, I would encourage you to look at some of your personal values and then look at your values in your brand and business, see how they coincide together, but see if you can make some a little separate. For those of you who also have partners or families, you also might have family values or broader couple values too. And there might be a Venn diagram for here as well. But for today, we're going to be talking about just your business and your brand. Keep it simple and look at it through that lens. For us, we have buckets of values. For us, we talk about the whole world. We value social impact, the environment. We value whole people in the world, which are values of integrity, honesty, and encouragement. And for us, it's also to think out of this world. We value humor, innovation, and creativity. And so I'm going to pull up a slide that's going to have a number of values on there. And I want things to kind of jump at you. Scribble down, circle, look at things that resonate with you and or think through people in your life that have really impacted you and why they've impacted you. For some people, when they're trying to figure out what a value of theirs, they might say, I really valued Grandpa John because he was so generous. Our daughter is named after my grandmother, and we value her because she was really strong. She had a lot of fortitude and tenacity. And so we realize that those are things that we value dearly. And so if you need help figuring out what some of our values are, looking back to people you look up to can really help. And in this case, even with your brand, are there brands that you look up to? Maybe you really love Apple for all our techies just because they have such cutting edge innovation, but they make it look simple. So maybe ease or technology or innovation are things that as a business you also want to exude. And so here are a few more questions, right? Who has made an impact on your life and why? What do you want people to feel whenever they interact with you and your brand? And again, back to legacy leaving, what do you want to be known for? So if you all have brought your pen and paper, you can scribble out a few thoughts here. And then in the next slide, I'll bring up a list of values for you all too. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on this because I don't know if your screen is also super tiny, but let me see if I can help you with this 8-point font real quick. Is that better? Y'all can give me a thumbs up if that's helpful. And you don't have to have a lot. I know we listed a few buckets. 3, I would say it's kind of a minimum to give you some guideposts for your brand. And I would say anything more than 8 might be feel a little too scattered. So stay within that range for your values here. Take a good hard look at the part on the left because I'm going to scroll over. There's another third column here. So if you wanted anything from there, I'll keep that middle column and just go over this way. I can see that some of your notebooks are so full of really inspired scribbles right now. A lot of notes. This gets me really happy. Okay. Okay. Before we now take our brand foundations to look back at last year, I want you all to put in the chat being brave. I know this is messy. I know this is draft. And I know some of you are going to take some of this homework and sit with it a little more because even though you're out of school, you're still like star students front row and you want to work on this a little more. But right now, raw and vulnerable, I want you to put in the chat your brand foundation. So whatever draft you have on your mission, your vision, and your values, go ahead and put it in the chat. I want to cheer you on and see what y'all are creating in the world. And I know some of you all are looking. I'm going to go back to the definition of a mission and vision just in case you need some help with that. So again, a mission focuses on today and what your life, brand, and business does, who it serves, and how you do it. So what you do, who it serves, how you do it. And a vision just focuses on what you want to become. And it gets really specific. And then again, your values are essentially what do you want to be known for? And what do you want people to feel or think of whenever they interact with your brand? Is it reliability? Is it humor? Is it authenticity? Is it approachability? What are those things? All right, feel free to put it in the chat here while I prep us for us looking back at last year. So if you have your phones, your calendars, and a pen in your notebook, please get them ready. If you don't have them, go ahead and grab them. Maybe some of you will have wonderful planners there. I would love to see. I love a good paper product. We're going to go ahead and grab those because what we're going to do is we're going to look back. We're going to go through our calendar. And for time's sake, I want you to just look at this time last year. So let's look at Q1, so January through March of 2025, so that we're not looking through all 12 months. I want you to go through your calendar. And if you have a pen and paper, I want you to write on one side your personal life and your professional life and just draw a line. And then just draw bullet points of, okay, in my personal life, I went on this vacation with my family. I went out to dinner with this friend. Anything significant, write it down. Or I just got this license or I just booked this clients, put that on your professional side. I want you just to do that for Q1 of last year, January through March. That way we can contain it a little bit. And then when you're done with that, I want you to open the Photos app in your phone. And thankfully, there's a little search bar up here, but you can just put in like January 2025. It'll also help you remember some significant things that you did. I went to this dinner, or I visited this grandchild of mine. What were those significant moments? And I want you to jot them down. So we have our homework. I'm going to be playing some music in the background. Again, feel free to put in the chat any of your brand foundations. Would love to read them. And then I want you to go through your calendar and then your camera roll. So I'm going to play some music, give us some time to do that. Okay, let me bring us back together. By just a thumbs up to your cameras, how was that for you? Was it mid? Was it fun? Or it's like, whoa, that was like too much of a trip down memory lane. Did not like that. Give me some body language. Okay, I see some thumbs up. Okay, very nice. I'm going to read some things that were here in the chat. Casey Bruce Media is a video production company with the goal of telling 10,000 stories using video. We think the world could be a better place if more people had a platform to share their voice. I totally agree with you, Casey. I cheer that on so hard. Francis Mulcahy Therapy's mission is to help people of color move along in their healing journey so that they too become healers in their own communities. I know you're still working on something specific, but Francis, if your goal is to give goosebumps, it worked. I love that so much. And Vina, you want to inspire others through words to find beauty and transparency in the broken pieces of life. That is your gifting. I love that so, so much. So, keeping these in mind as we're going through our calendar, going through our camera, and I hope after this you can do the rest of last year too. We just don't have so much time to sit through and do all of it because it does just take a good amount of time to go through it. But I hope it can help you reflect a little bit with your mission and vision and values because I want you to go through it a little bit more. Here's a bonus for later. If you can, I want you to doodle some of your favorite moments from last year. If it was pushing your grandson on the swings, I want you to doodle that. If it was eating a 7-piece prefix menu, I want you to draw that. Like whatever it is that there are significant moments, they do say that when we draw things and use more of our senses, we're remembering, we're touching, we're looking, it helps ingrain into us that memory a little bit more and it helps us to sit with it in more gratitude. But that's a bonus for later. But now I want us to take what we did with looking back at some of our year. I know we only did Q1. If you can remember some of your other moments in Q2 and Q4, I want you to look back and ask yourself these things. In view of our mission, when did you see parts of your mission lived out? What were the habits and who were the people that helped you get there? Oftentimes, we coach people and we come up with these great mission, vision, and values for them to put on their website. But if we don't have regular practices of looking back to see how far we've come, then what's the point? And so this is a time for you to look back. When did I see some of that mission lived out? Who were those people who read your words? And how did they find beauty and transparency in the broken pieces of life, right? Like, when did you see some of that happen? And who were the people that helped you get there? What were the habits that helped you get there? I want you to write those down. And we talked earlier about how are you going to celebrate that you did some of these things? Are you going to like buy that extra boba? Because you can like cheer on, wait, I'm accomplishing my mission. We did this. So go ahead and jot down some of this looking back that you lived out your mission in this way. Okay, now with our mission in mind, now we're in this new year. I want you to ask yourself, okay, we know what we did last year to get to where we are. How can I either broaden some of my mission? Maybe you need to up that number. That's for us. We realize we're getting to our 10,000 women. How do we broaden our mission now? How can we be re-inspired in this next chapter? Or for some of you, it might be refining. Maybe it was too broad before, and we actually know who our niche is. We know the people we like to serve. We know how we're going to do it really in a specific way this year. Or maybe there was something that you used to offer that you're not going to offer anymore. So whether you have to broaden or refine it for this year, how are you going to set a goal to accomplish your mission in light of this new year ahead? Okay. While you have that thought, vision is very aligned with mission. But in looking back, how is the world closer to becoming what you envisioned it to be? What was the effect you saw of having told more people stories, of more people having platform? Was there more empathy in the world because of it? Was there more understanding, camaraderie? How's the world becoming what you envisioned it to be? And then moving forward, what part of your brand legacy can be carried out this year? What is the stamp that you're going to make on the world? And what, in a reasonable manner, can you do in 2026 to do that? I'm going to just throw some ideas out there as you all are writing out these goals. Maybe some of you need to throw a celebration party that you are already accomplishing some of your mission vision. Maybe it's a party with some of your friends, family, your peers, your business owners to celebrate you. What if it is like a brand event to celebrate this, or for even more of your clients to understand that this is your mission and vision? Or maybe you've been doing kind of what's in your wheelhouse for a while now. What if it's your time to start teaching and passing some of that on for the next generation of people in your industry too? Is that going to be part of your brand legacy? What are those things? All right. And then when it comes to our values, looking back on this last year, how did you embody your values? How did you live that out? And the flip side of that, was there a time when your values were violated or shout out to Francis and other folks in the therapy field? Oftentimes, this is what I've learned from my therapist when something feels off, like when something feels wrong, it's because a value has been violated. And sometimes you didn't even know it was a value, but you were so angry at this thing and you weren't sure why. And that's because, wait a minute, I really value honesty. And when that person lied to me, I realized how much I valued honesty, right? So it was ignored. And that's how you realize that thing was a value. So I hate for those moments to happen. And yet they can be really revealing of what's important to us. Or maybe some of you have felt a little off. One of the big things we love to do as coaches is making sure people feel aligned holistically. And oftentimes they come to work with us on their business and their brand, and it's so fun, but they feel really tired or really spent, or something just doesn't feel right for them. And oftentimes you have to ask them, like, are you taking care of yourself? Is there something that really lights you up that you're actually ignoring right now? What if instead we have you do that first before we work on your brand? For some of you, maybe it's like, oh, I have a value of being out in nature and honoring kind of the world around us. And oftentimes when we work, or we're stuck in a place where there's winter or there's snow, that value is being ignored. And keeping this in mind, let's move it to the flip. Now, for this year, if we knew looking back how we embodied some values or how we wish we embodied some values, how can you do that this year? And we use this helpful framework on our retreats. We use this here. We call it sweat, work, love, and play, which really it breaks down to in your area of health, your mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. How can your value of creativity be expressed there? How can creativity be expressed in your work and kind of what we call your productive time? There's some people who work even if they might not be paid to do it. It's their productive energy and hours. How can creativity be in your relationships? How can creativity be in your hobbies? I'm going to call some out here like beauty and transparency, Nina. That's so beautiful. How can that show up more in your health? How can that show up more in your relationships, not just your work? Okay, is anyone feeling brave enough to put some of these answers in the chat? Some of these might be very vulnerable, but if you're brave enough, go ahead and put any of your answers from looking back and moving forward here in the chat. Okay, I'm going to ask this vulnerable question. Now what? Some of you may have been people who have set goals before for your life, your brand, and your business. And maybe it started well in January, but fizzled out by February. Or maybe you started it and then you only had momentum for so long. And then this workshop was great because it helped you realign and come back. But now what? What do we do with these beautiful things that you've come up with that you've written down on paper, which is really good? Because again, I'm saying if you have visuals, if you're touching it, this is ingraining in your brain more and more. But now what? What are we going to do? I'm going to share with you all this framework that we've been working on as a brand, and it's called C.L.A.R.I.T.Y. C.L.A.R.I.T.Y. And this hopefully will help you put things into action. Many of you have listened to our podcast before where we talk about our brand foundations, which we kind of went over, is the thing we establish with our clients first. Then we come up with a brand strategy of how we're going to live out that foundation. And then we go into brand expression, which is what most people think all that branding is. They think it's a website or a logo or showing up on social media, but it's actually the work of this foundation and this strategy and expression. And I realized it was a 3-part framework, but I could have broken it down even more. And so now we have an acronym, people. We have C.L.A.R.I.T.Y. So I'm wondering if any of you can relate. Maybe one of you might say, yeah, branding has been on my to-do list, but I'm feeling overwhelmed of where to start. And why does it actually matter, Brace? Or you want to build a personal brand, like, okay, people tell me, my agents tell me I need to be showing up more online, but I'm afraid because there's like these big egos online. Do I want to show up that way? It doesn't feel aligned. Maybe it feels a little off. Or maybe you have already been building this brand, but then you're so talented, you're building things. Okay, we have this like retainer for this client here, or we do this thing on social media here, and then we do this thing. And suddenly you're like, how does this all fit together? Or maybe some of you love coming to workshops like this, right? You love courses, you love being an alumni of YouTube University. I don't know if anyone else can relate. Like we watch a lot of things or we listen to a lot of podcasts, but then we fail to actually do it or do anything with it. It's one thing to learn, but then you're like, oh, okay, I just bought this course and here's what I have to show for it. I have been there. Trust me, I have been there. And hopefully this framework will help you too. So this is what clarity stands for. It stands for a compass, the landscape, arena, your resources, the infrastructure, translating it, and yonder or the beyond. So let me talk with you a little bit about what that is. So for your compass, this is where your brand foundations come in. It's your North Star, it's your guiding light. What we went through with our mission, vision, and values definitely aligns with things. I would also put in there kind of your mental health or just like your mindset when it comes to building. I would also put in there figuring out your zone of genius or the things that you're really like made on this earth to do, not just the things you're good at, but the things that really light you up. These should be our foundation, our guiding post. From there, now we get into kind of brand strategy. We kind of look at the landscape, knowing that one of our goals is to help people of color being healers in their community. Let's look at the landscape of things. It's very tough for people in 2026 to be healers. Why is that? What resources are out there? What are organizations or people who are already doing this work? Who can I partner with? Figuring out the landscape even of your own life. Like, what do I have capacity for? What do I have the energy for? What does my audience need right now? What does healing look like? What does storytelling or building a platform look like? What does writing look like in this year? It's really putting it in context with AI is such like a hot topic right now. Like even for me, what one of our services is photography. The landscape of photography is changing with AI. How can I keep that in mind right now? And it's further looking into your arena again with the audience, again with your kind of niche in the marketplace, your little corner of the world. For us, we love working with small businesses and female entrepreneurs. What are they being challenged by this year? How could they use branding and coaching? How could they use writing? How could they use therapy? How can they use social media in this arena of their lives right now? But then it's also keeping in mind our resources too. And for some of us, we might be able to work on this, carrying out our mission and vision and values full time or 40 hours a week. Some of us might only have 20 hours a week. Some of us have technology. Some of us have giftings where we can show up on camera. Some of us have giftings where we're great one on one. It's looking at our resources. Additionally, if you all are making this brand into a business, it's figuring out how do I price what I do? How do I put a price where it covers my cost of goods and it also creates a profit so that I can sustainably do what I have to do? And then you have to look at your infrastructure. This is the nerdy part that's not as fun. If any of you can relate to just being creative and visionaries, the infrastructure of figuring out a system of how to get this done, or even working within the legal system of our country of how to file your taxes when it comes to this, or even figuring out how to scale this, how to build a team. How do you build a team as a solo writer? Do you hire a VA? Do you hire an agency? Or how can you hire your neighbor's kid to help you with some of these things that are more tedious? How can you create a structure within your brand to carry this out? And then when you do all that work together, now we start expressing it or translating it and putting it out into the world. Okay, we want to know, we want to work with small businesses, tell stories, work with people of color. Where do they show up? How can we figure out a medium, a social media platform, an event that they'll go to? How do we figure out how to show up for them in this group chat or on this Reddit thread? It's really figuring out how to translate all that And then this is when your brand really comes into play. Okay, knowing that we have to show up on these mediums, how do we create momentum around that? How do you create a website? How do you create a brand? How do you create a podcast? And these are big things that we love to break down for people together. And this workshop was a great example of how we worked on the compass part of it. But working on the rest of it is how we can help you put that all into play as well. I'm going to read what's in the chat here of some of our goals for this year and how it translates. So Casey says, one of my values is community, and that can be combined with hobbies and friends. So this quarter, he joined a basketball boot camp. That's so cool, Casey, which connects with your other values of health and community. That is so good. I feel like you found a great Venn diagram. Vina said, reflecting on key events, people, and places in the year help me see that even though I may have not a book proposal accepted yet, girl, it's coming. You have meaningful stories to write about for the next proposal. 100%. It all feeds into it. And then Marissa said, supporting my community with more opportunities to connect with one another offline. Amen. I know it's ironic because we're meeting in this kind of online sense. But I do believe in this age, people are just craving like what it's like to be in the same room with people. That is such a service to the world if you can be a host and a hospitable person to do that. And that's definitely a brand expression. So if you all could have related to the I struggle with actually putting this into practice, you're not alone. This is my friend Venus. She joined one of our programs in the past, and she is someone who's so amazing and took two things and put them together. She blends life coaching and boxing. So she said, I met Praise and told her about my idea to mix the art of boxing with health and life coaching. And then through our program, she was able to go from just this idea, it was just floating out there, and to having her business launch with a full website, a photo shoot, and lifelong friends. So when she worked with us to kind of like help her implement it and not just make it a New Year's goal, we optimized her offerings, we priced them correctly. We even helped her plan a launch party for her business, and she earned local media attention. So she was featured in a news article, which was so cool. I am so proud of her. So this is how we do it. This is kind of our secret sauce. If you want to take this further, we do things like this, or we have a lot of content we learn, but then we do group coaching. So it's way more interactive than even just this. Then you get one-on-one time with me. You also get an accountability partner where you can just voice memo them and say, hey, I want to celebrate a win, or hey, I'm struggling with this. And then we put it all together in a real world expression project. So we're launching a group cohort. It's called Brand Clarity. Surprise, surprise, where we're doing this all together because I have so many people come to me who say, Praise, I want to launch a podcast. Or Praise, I want to figure out how all of these things I do come together. Or I know I need to launch a personal brand. How can you help me? And I said, let's put something together to help you do this. And so this is our secret sauce of how we're going to do it. Let me tell you about our friend Nadine, who also came to us. A little bit about her is an Asian American, and it was very cultural for her to go into the medical field. And she was a nurse in the pandemic, kind of out of duty to her family and to her culture, but she burnt out fast. And so she had to learn through trial and error that, wait, like focusing on my own health and my own well being is just as important as me being a nurse in the medical field. And so she actually became a coach for other second generation students who were in like kind of medical programs, help them focus on themselves and their well-being. Such a niche coaching program. And so when she worked with us, she created her coaching program. We put it together. We created what her brand experience would feel like, and she booked her first client. It was so fun. I still connect with Nadine. I have her thank you card on my wall here. I'm just so, so proud of her. So again, she was someone who had a goal. She knew what her compass was, what her brand foundations were, and we helped her execute on it. So if this speaks to you, we are launching Brand Clarity at the end of this month. So I think we start January 29th in a few weeks from today, 3 weeks from today, and it'll go on for 6 weeks, where we set you up with an accountability partner. You get a one-on-one deep dive call with me where we'll set you up, and then we'll work on one real world expression project together. So for some of you, it might be, okay, how do I host a brand event where I can get people to like speed date so they can meet other people in their community? Or maybe it's, okay, I have this goal of telling 10,000 stories. Can you help me break it down to what I can do this year? What is a brand movement we can start to do that. Whatever your expression project is, that's what we'll get to do during brand clarity. Okay, I know I sprayed you all with a fire hose during this workshop, but I want to celebrate you. If you have any brand questions, some of you might be muted, but feel free to unmute yourself, ask it to the group, ask me, put it in the chat. Before we wrap up, I would love to answer any questions that you have. If you all don't have any questions, I want to end with a few deep breaths to kind of settle the work we did here together. So go ahead and settle into your seat here. We're going to end with 3 deep breaths. And I want you to think as you're doing this to honor the work that you did here, to honor all the progress you made last year, and to kind of promise to yourself that you'll be your best cheerleader as you plan for this year. So do that in 3 deep breaths, okay? So go ahead and take inhale in. Gratitude for being here. Another inhale in. Gratitude that the last year and all that you were able to do and the impact you made on the world in the last year. And then one last big breath in here. And this is just a promise to yourself to be the best cheerleader to yourself as you continue to carry out your mission in the world for this year. I am so grateful that you all came today. Sorry if there were any tech issues here. Feel free to DM me, email me, reach out to me. We are here for you. I'll be sending out the replay along with a few PDFs to cover some of these things. And again, I encourage you to take more time to review Q2, Q4 of last year and continue to plan for this year of how you can live out your mission and your vision and your values. Thank you all. You're welcome.